Okay, so I wanted to share the last of my Decipher cards only decks that I have not shared yet. This is a light side deck that revolves around the "Will Handle This" objective, Duel of the Fates. One of my favorite shots, favorite looking cards in the game, probably just because of this shot right here. It's so cool. This is a lightsaber combat objective. There is a dark side version. That's basically the same thing, I believe. So I mean, what it does, you get to deploy a couple Theed Palace sites, the Palace Generator Core and the Palace Generator, and then a card called Inner Strength. And then, I mean, basically how it works is if Dark Jedi are anywhere except for your interior Naboo sites, their force drains are canceled. And then once the Dark Jedi does come to a interior Naboo battleground site, then you flip the objective. So it kind of makes you have to, just like in episode 1, kind of makes your Jedi's battle at Naboo, or that's kind of the point of it. So somebody puts Darth Vader down at a Tatooine site, they can do that, but wherever Darth Vader is, they're not going to be able to force drain. So like I said, it kind of heavily encourages fighting on Naboo. And now here's where it gets kind of wild. So once this is flipped, you may not force drain where you have a Jedi, and then during your move phase, you can't force drain or initiate battle where you have a Jedi. And then during your move phase, you may initiate lightsaber combat against an opponent's Dark Jedi present. Each draw 2 destiny. Lowest loses 2 force. If difference is 5 or greater, lost force must come from reserve deck. And losing character is lost. So what you want to do is get in a lightsaber combat with their Jedi, and you want to be able to get to draw a really high destiny so that you kill their Jedi, or their Jedi are lost. They lose a bunch of force, and then hopefully you just control Naboo. Another thing here too, this is kind of interesting, is if they come to Naboo without Jedi, during your control phase, you may target opponent's character present with your Jedi, an interior Theed Palace site, and target is lost. So, yeah, they got to be very careful how they do this. But again, just kind of encourages Jedi to fight each other at Naboo. So it's the objective. So this is the card that gives you a little bit. This is the card that gives you the advantage as the person playing this deck. Essentially what it allows you to do is for the drawing the 2 destiny for the lightsaber combat. This card allows you to pre-put a card underneath this card, and then you can draw that for one of your lightsaber combat destiny cards. So this gives you a little bit of an advantage where if you have a really high destiny card in your hand, you can put it under this card during your, deploy phase. And then when you initiate lightsaber combat, you can then use that card as one of your lightsaber combat destinies. So that gives you a big advantage. Let's see, I've got the unusual amount of fear. This is a starting effect for defensive shields. I do play defensive shields, so got to have that in there. All right, here's one of the starting sites, and then here's the other starting site. So the nice thing is you start off with 5 force right away. Bad thing is it starts off with your opponent getting 4 force right away. So one of the weaknesses of this deck is that it seems it's a decent amount for starting off, but it's not a lot amount for later on in the game. So you got to figure out some other ways to get force to make this deck work, and I'm going to show you how I do that here. I got the starting interrupt. This is not heading for the medical frigate, which allows you to deploy 3 starting effects. But the thing is, I just cannot find Insurrection Aim High is very helpful because it does so many things. You can deploy a docking bay, makes your opponent use force when they're retrieving force. It does a lot of things, and I don't know. Honestly, this is just like the only effect that that really does much in this deck. So I've just got the signal in here and just this one effect to start the game with. So it goes against kind of what I normally do with the 3 effects starting the game. So anyway. Then we got, okay, so here's how, this is the fun part, I think is one of the fun parts of this deck. So we got a Grand Army. So to get that extra force that you need, there's two ways to do it with this deck that I've done. One is getting a couple extra docking bays. The docking bays that only give you force and don't give your opponent any force that you can draw out with Insurrection and Aim High. And then my other idea is using Wisa Got a Grand Army and a lot of them to get the Naboo Boss Chambers. And then there's some other things I do along with that. So I've got 8 Wisa Got a Grand Army in here. And then Boss Nass Chambers. Now here's the thing with Boss Nass Chambers. Now this is a very interesting strategy to get a lot of force. So you can use this in other decks too, for sure. Not just this deck, but and it works in the open format, works in Decipher only. But anyway, once per game, you may take Boss Nass into hand from your reserve deck. Okay, so you use We Got a Grand Army right away. You go get this. Put out Boss Nass Chambers. Then you go get Boss Nass. And then what Boss Nass says is, while he's in an underground site, which Boss Nass Chambers is, all of your characters are on Naboo are Gungans. You can add 1 Battle Destiny, or you can deploy a Gungan from your deck. So you get Boss Nass out on Boss Nass Chambers, then you use his ability to go get Rep Bean. And Rep Bean, while at Boss Nass Chambers, your force generation here is +1 for each Gungan present. So like right away with the Boss Nass Chambers, Boss Nass, and Rep Bean, that's 4 force generation just from Boss Nass Chambers. And then I do have Ota Gunga entrance because Rep Bean can pull this site also. So that's another free force if you get that out. And then my one other Gungan that I have in here is General Jar Jar. One, he can add more force at Boss Nass Chambers. You know, it's a nice thing on turn 1 to get Boss Nass and Rep Bean out, and then turn 2, try and get... First thing you do is you use Boss Nass to go get another Gungan, and because at that point, if you only have Boss Nass and Rep Bean out, turn 2 you go get General Jar Jar, get him out, and then next turn 3, you're generating 5 force at Boss Nass Chambers. Some people would probably say I should not do as many Wisa Got a Grand Army and all this other stuff, and I should put in like 3 Speak with the Jedi Council and the Jedi Council Chambers, which is not a bad idea, but I just decided to go all the way on this, of course. But yeah, the Jedi Council Chamber, gives you 3 force, gives your opponent 0 force, and We Must Speak with the Jedi Council allows you to search for Jedi Council Chamber, so you can get it out and play, without having to, draw it on your starting hand or anything. But yeah, We Must Speak with the Jedi Council has turned into like a $50-$60 card. Anyway, episode 1 cards have really gotten expensive. Okay, so we gotta have a lot of Jedi in here. So I've got 1, 2, 3 Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. Oh, there's a white bordered Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. No, this is actually just a slip. Print it out, cut it out, put it in the deck. People I play with, we play with proxies like this. It's a lot cheaper. It's a good idea. I would really recommend it for people that don't want to blow a couple $1,000s just getting started on getting cards and stuff. Which you don't have to do, but if you want some of the best cards, they're of course the more expensive ones. We got Qui-Gon, a couple of Qui-Gons in here. This is the Qui-Gon specifically for lightsaber combat. When he wins a lightsaber combat, he adds 2 to opponent's force loss. That's kind of nice. I've got 1 Mace Windu Jedi Master in here, mostly because just to have more Jedi in here. 1 Yoda Master of the Force. He's just good. You can go get you a Censor and Altar card also. Obi-Wan Jedi Knight. This is one for Naboo. And then you can also use... Qui-Gon can use Obi-Wan's combat card, so the 2 of them together are decent. Padme, twice per game. May deploy Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan here from reserve deck. So... kind of enough said there. She can go search. With her out, you can go get Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's. Lando, one of the other weaknesses with this deck is that there's not a lot of ways to do multiple battle destinies. Not all of your fighting is going to be lightsaber combat. If your opponent attacks you at Naboo, they can initiate regular combat, so you will have to do some fighting combat sometimes. This Lando lets you draw an extra destiny, so that's it. Plus his destiny number is ridiculous at 5, so helps with that and draw an extra destiny. So then we got a spy in here in case somebody it's doing a big force drain somewhere else. You're playing against a walker deck maybe. And then I've got two versions of Leia in here. I've got the Undercover Spy version, and then Leia Rebel Princess, who is just really good. 3PO with his part showing because he lets you draw a card, put a card on your use pile. That's pretty good. Corran Horn is a spy. I've got 1, 2, 3 Amidala's Blasters in here. And it is not because Amidala's Blaster is good. It is basically because of that 6 Destiny and because this card can be useful sometimes. I've got 1 Qui-Gon's Lightsaber. This is one that also adds to lightsaber combat Destiny, so that's good. And plus 5 Destiny for its own Destiny number. Pretty good. Luke's Lightsaber helps with force drains. There's my small favorite space package. 2 Han, Chewie, and the Falcon. 2 life debts to go search for Han, Chewie, and the Falcon, or to draw those extra Destinies if you already have Han, Chewie, and the Falcon in your hand or in the game. This card is strong enough on its own. This Han, Chewie, and the Falcon with life debt is ridiculous. I mean, drawing 4 Destiny is just absolutely crushing. So like I said, it's kind of, in a lot of ways, it's all you really need for the space package. It'll do some damage. I've got 3 Rebel Barriers in here, and big reason for these is because of Darth Maul with Lightsaber. The Dark Side Politics deck plays a lot of Darth Maul with Lightsaber, and what they will try and do is just drop 1 Darth Maul with Lightsaber down at your Naboo site, initiate a battle, and try and kill your Jedi before you can do a lightsaber combat against them, and Rebel Barriers kind of help with that, hopefully. And then, okay, 4 Rebel Artillery. They've got this 7 Destiny number, which is for, you draw one of these in your hand, you put it in your lightsaber, put it under your lightsaber inner strength for your lightsaber Destiny draws. And then plus, this is also this is kind of part of the reason also why Amidala's Blaster is in here. You can use this to make an opponent lose force each turn if you control a battleground where you have a weapon that is not a lightsaber or a permanent weapon, so you can use it that way also. So 4 of those. Were you looking for me to go get 3PO or to add a Destiny where 3PO is at? Gift of the Mentor to go get a force or go get a lightsaber. Skywalkers, which is, I love this card. If Luke and Leia are in a battle together, draw 2 Battle Destiny, or cancel Imperial Barrier. That's huge. That's why it's in there. I got 1 Sense in here. Could also probably have an Altar in here because you can go search for them with, they're good on their own, but then you can also go search for them with Yoda. I've got a Weapon Levitation, and then the 2 Docking Bays that give you force but don't give your opponent force, so you can go draw for those. So yeah, I don't know. Give it a try. If you play on Gemp or something like that, give it a try. If you play with friends, give it a try. Pretty fun deck. It's very exciting with the lightsaber combat Destiny draws. May the Force be with you.